Ladies and germs, welcome to the evening boxing talks. I was going to do a late night one, but then I figured, I want to watch a couple of movies before I go to bed, so I'll get it out the way early. Just one or two subjects, maybe three, that have my attention. We'll open up the chat to the panel, get people's thoughts on the Joshua versus Usyk rematch, what they expect to see, what they expect to happen, their thoughts on the first fight, and their thoughts on the second. Sort of a recap ahead of the fight, which is just a little over a month away. The ongoing feud between Ryan Garcia and Canelo Alvarez. I think it's childish. I think it's almost a testament to the times that you could have a young up-and-comer like a Ryan Garcia who has yet to accomplish anything, feeling so inclined to mouth off to a fighter who is essentially what he is aspiring to be. You know, you're aspiring to get to where Canelo Alvarez is. In many ways you are, directly or indirectly. You hope to make truckloads of money from the sport of boxing. That's what he's doing. I'm going to assume that you at some point intend to become a world champion. Well, that's what he's been at more than one weight. Punch perfect, what it do? Ziggy Zane, Zawab, Standing 8, Alfred, George. Yep. Getting into it, Willie Lynch in the building. And it's like you got a kid in Ryan. You know what I mean? And the fact that you think you could talk to that dude like that, it's like it's childish, and it shows where the kid's head is at, because you should have been soaking up the jewels from working alongside somebody like that, working alongside a Canelo Alvarez, picking up whatever you can. You needed a tailor-made, a custom-made situation, which kind of speaks to not wanting to leave your comfort zone. And I know it's a cliche, but it really is the truth. When you leave your comfort zone, that's when growth happens. It's kind of like how when you're working out, when you get accustomed to doing a certain amount of reps, you can't just stay there. You either have to do more reps or add more weight. You got to get out of your comfort zone to spark any growth. And I think the same is true in many different areas of life. That one in particular, that if you need a special situation, customized, custom made just for you, are you really leaving your comfort zone? We'll see if the relationship with Joe Goosen, that partnership, we'll see if that yields progress or not, you know. Hold on. And yeah, man. It's just I saw what he said, at this when Canelo Alvarez was the same age that Ryan is now. He was opposite the ring, the number one pound for pound fighter in the sport. Ryan Garcia doesn't look like he's ready to be opposite the ring, the number 4, the number 5, or the number 6 pound for pound fighter in the sport. You know what I mean? And that's what really makes it look silly to me, that you really think you could talk shit to this cat. You really think you could talk shit to this guy, and maybe it sounds good in your head, or maybe you just, you saying whatever you feel you need to say, but it just, to at least to me, outside looking in, it's like, man, you should have been trying to learn from that guy, You should have been trying to learn from that guy, because it is true that he was further along in his career when he was your age, the same age you are now. He was already a more complete fighter than you are now. And I don't even know that it's Ryan's goal to go that far, because I didn't forget that he said he wants to retire from the sport at age 26 and perhaps cross over into mixed martial arts. It's kind of like these kids that they'll say pretty much anything. That's this generation, though. That is this generation. That's that their mind is kind of warped. And yeah, man, it's just kind of crazy. Shout out to Sawab. Jules, what the fuck happened to them beautiful days when young boxers used to respect their elders who made the way for them? Example, AJ respects Mike, Ali. Well, it's this era, it's this generation, honestly. It really is this generation that I feel that this generation nothing is sacred, to the youth. Nothing is sacred. They don't have boundaries. They don't have they don't really have a code. They believe they do, but they don't really have a code. And that hinders them, because in having a code or in having parameters and things like that, you learn discipline, and discipline is a very important character. It's a strength. Some people like being able to be disciplined is the difference between being good at something and not being good at something. The difference between getting things done and not getting things done. Discipline. And I feel that discipline is actually something that this generation, the youth of this generation, greatly lacks, because without discipline, I don't know how the hell you're going to get along. God-given ability can only get you so far, and I'm talking about in all areas of life, whether you're a good artist, you're good at a thing or another thing. God-given ability, or otherwise known as talent, can only get you so far. At some point, discipline takes you the rest of the way, and what I notice about this generation is they lack discipline. So yeah, man, I mean, it gets fucking wild. Shout out to J Money, Julius the philosopher, leading us to the land of milk and honey, and don't forget titties. Got to have some titties. Willie Lynch, the desperate boxing fan, aye! He says, I try not to badmouth the kid because I fly off the handle thinking about it. This kid makes millions and wants people to feel sorry for him. Mike Tyson went through hell but became a champion at 20. I'm sure that was easy too. And that's the thing. In one of the videos I did, I talked about how sometimes a lot of success early on hinders growth. And I used Edgar Berlanga and Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez to some degree as an example that when you have a lot of success early on, it can cause you to have a big head, and you'll feel like you're further along or more developed than you actually are based on something else. With Edgar Berlanga, it's a little bit more crude, a more crude example, because it's obvious. He got a lot of first-round knockouts, and they promoted him on that premise. They promoted him, like, oh, he's this and that because of all these first-round knockouts, when in reality, he's not developing because he's not getting rounds in the bank. He's knocking over all these guys that fell down as soon as he touched them, but he didn't develop other areas that he's going to need later on when the guys get a little bit tougher. They take a better punch. They're not going to fall down right away. And now, because of all the promotion that he got, whenever he goes out there and he doesn't look great, everybody's watching him based on the promotion from before. That the success you have early on can be a hindrance. Ryan is another example that he's making very good money for a fighter that hasn't even fought for a world title yet. He really hasn't fought for a world title yet, but he's making very good money. And that is causing his growth as an actual fighter, his development. It's stifling it because you talking like you a superstar already. You ain't even fought really for an alphabet title yet. Maybe in your own mind, you think you don't need to because you're getting a little bit of money right now. And in the long run, that could hurt him. You got to trust the process. You don't want to trust the process. Well, all things catch up on a long enough timeline. All things catch up. Pascual Castillo, que lo que, manín? Bro, I'm watching old fights here, YouTube, this boxing era boxing, and doesn't amuse me. Yo entiendo, manín, mucha pendeja, mucha estupidez, mucho culero, mucha vaina, mucha mierda. Everyone wants equality, but shits themselves when it actually happens. Same, bro. Yeah, it's Alfred said it best, this entitlement culture, that it's great that he's a young, enterprising man that has other arms of revenue outside of the purses that he's paid. You really can't knock that hustle because, you got a limited window of opportunity to make money in the sport of boxing. So if you could get some other money, of course it's a good idea. And he has other arms of revenue. But you also have to question, how far is he going to go when it seems like he's distracted and when he seems less than dedicated? Most 95% of other fighters you see, maybe even 99, when they're at the stage that he's at, they want to fight for a world title. They want to say that I was a world champion in my sport. A lot of the fans marginalize what that might mean to them, but to the fighter, I'm pretty sure that's an important year mark and something that they all aspire to and work towards. That you want to be able to say that you were a full-fledged world champion. Maybe you won't be pound for pound. Maybe you won't be top 5, top 6 in the whole whatever sport, right? But you want to be able to say that. And when I see Ryan, bro, you walked away from that Devin Haney fight more than once. You walked away from that more than once. If you truly believed that you could beat that guy, why wouldn't you have fought him? It doesn't make sense. And there's no way to rationalize that. You were on the same platform. You fought in an eliminator that lines you up for him. And when the moment came, you wanted to do everything else. Even now, you're talking about a Gervonta Davis fight, knowing that he's over there on Showtime. Are you going to go to Showtime? Because he's not going to come to you. He's not coming to the zone, you know. Eddie Hearn already offered that man $8 million for a Tevin Farmer fight. If $8 million and a unification match that he could have won, if that wasn't enough to get him on the zone, what makes you think you're going to get him on the zone? Or is it that you're going to cross over to Showtime? Because other than that, I don't know how it's going to happen. He was born with too much and got too much early on to be humble. Looks, physical gifts, millions early in his life. It all plays a big factor. Yes, it really does. And you don't appreciate things as much when you don't have to work for them. I don't want to accuse the kid of being lazy. But what I'm saying is the average fighter that is in that exact same stage of their career, they're not making the money that Ryan's making. They don't have notoriety yet. So these are very hungry individuals, and them being hungry makes them driven. Whereas on the other foot, it may be making him complacent. Steve Munoz says, de lo mío, que lo que? Sounds like Ramirez versus Benn is back on. Who wins? I hope Ramirez has enough power to keep Benn off, because Benn hasn't fought anyone as good as him. Steve, we definitely going to talk about that. That's actually a part of the reason I went live. I wanted to get everybody's opinions on how they view Jose Ramirez versus Conor Benn. Now that it's a conversation, rumors and rumblings seem to be that Jose Ramirez's next fight is going to be in the United Kingdom. So when we put our thinking caps on, who would he be fighting there? It's got to be Conor Benn. Country Jules, these young dudes today in boxing are mostly soft. The older generations were way tougher and they put in the work. These dudes want to hand it to them for nothing. Life don't work that way. And yeah, like, I know we going to sound like a bunch of old men sitting on the porch, wagging our finger at the youth. I get it. But I'm just being real about what I'm seeing, that, all right, Teofimo was hungry on his way up. He was willing to get in there with a big old high-risk guy in Masayoshi Nakatani. He went in there with Richard Comey, did the job, did the business. He did what he had to do to get the big fight. You know, this is before everything kind of went to shit. And I don't really see that hunger in Ryan. You know, Devin Haney. No one can accuse Devin Haney of not being hungry. No one can accuse him of that. He wanted to prove that, look, I'm not scared to go nowhere to fight nobody, fam. If I got to go to Australia by myself, then that's what the hell I'm going to do. Without my dad, it's gravy. I could beat him. He was hungry. You know, and when I think about them, yeah, them kids is hungry, man. Or you know, Teofimo was hungry. Devin definitely was hungry, you know, and he was making great money. He's still making great money. But money aside, I guess that his father raised him disciplined enough that he still had drive. They're like, yeah, I got paid millions at Matchroom, and that's great. But, you know, all of that, that's not going to stop me from getting on this plane and jabbing your fucking head off. It's not going to stop me. You see what I mean? And that's discipline. Whereas I look at Ryan, I'm like, bro, do you even know what you want out of this sport? Like, do you really know what you want? Alfred says, this generation, the money for nothing culture, pretty much. There's no other way to describe it. No, Jules, I'm 25 and I agree with you. This generation is fucked. I mean, like I say, I'm not trying to be the Joe Budden of the shit. I can only see it, interpret it, and relay my interpretation to all of you. And all of you may have a different interpretation of the same thing, and I'm willing to accept that. But when I see that a kid like Ryan is saying what he's saying to a Canelo Alvarez, it's like, this is ridiculous, bro. You really think you can talk shit to this guy? I'm not even telling you to kiss his ass. I'm just saying that I already see the engineering for what will be your downfall. I already see it. Like, bro, you're not wise. You just shooting off at the mouth. You think you better than what you are. You know what I mean? And somebody probably gonna get you, because in this sport, it's a matter of time before somebody gets you, and you gonna wish you thought about the shit. You know what I mean? They can't keep you in a bubble forever and keep you hot. You can't be in a bubble forever and they're going to keep you hot. Nah, eventually you're going to have to fight somebody, and that somebody might get you. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's just, there's success stories. There are great testimonies to picking yourself up when things go wrong, and getting back on the horse. And there are cautionary tales. I believe that Ryan's story is probably going to end up being a cautionary tale, because you got a lot of success early. You actually have a head start in some areas that some other fighters didn't have, and that's great. But don't let that make you complacent, because the sport is dangerous. You got dropped by Luke Campbell, a non-puncher, all right? And that was the best guy that you ever fought. Non-puncher, great boxer though, Olympian, gold medalist, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. He's a great boxer, but I'm just saying, power was never Luke's calling card, and he put you on your ass. So that should have been the wake-up call between you, your team, your people. Yo, we need to get it together. We was able to get off the canvas and secure the W, show that we got grit, but we need to get it together, because we don't want more moments like that. Andre Ward, he was dropped in his career early by Darnell Boone, and you see how he reacted to it. Tighten the fuck up. I don't want any more moments like that. You know what I mean? And you see, won the world box, the Super 8. He won the Super 8. He went up to light heavyweight and beat Sergey Kovalev. I know that there's some controversy. I get that. I just don't want to split hairs over it. But you see that different people react to different things differently, and that's what determines the outcome. How much discipline do you have? Because discipline is the difference between getting things done and not getting things done. Being able to go when you really don't feel like going. Being able to work when you really don't feel like working. That's discipline. And discipline shows character. A lack of discipline shows a lack thereof. Got Coach Melka in the building. Ronin 7. Cali. Hey. Yo, man. Is that Cali? Cali about to hit the heavy bag and listen. Hey, man, you need to jump on this shit, man. You need to jump on this shit, Cali. I'm about to shoot y'all the link out here, B. Only want to have a few people on at a time, because it could get pretty crowded. A lot of people telling me to limit the amount of panelists to less than 10, because it can get pretty crowded, hard to listen to. And yeah, man, Ryan, like I said, when I see he talking shit to a Canelo, I'm like, yo, this generation is wild, fam. Like, they ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, they just ridiculous. And you can't tell them nothing, because they're young. That's what it is to be young. Nobody could tell you nothing. But, hey, another thing, it ain't going to end well for everybody. Not every story is a success story. Some stories are cautionary tales. His looks like it's going to be a cautionary tale. It is what it is. I was good. He was good.
Yep.
Leo, I'm going to start with Leo. Ryan Garcia, man. Ryan Garcia.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about him, man? And you know what I really want to ask you, Leo? How do you see his career? Because I know it's asking a lot, but how do you see his career ending?
Ending?
Yeah,
with a lot of money. I'm sure of that. Look,
what do you think? What you think is gonna be?
This is the thing. People like us that been watching the sport for a long time, we know that boxing has a history of being a cruel sport.
Mm-hmm.
For the ones who participate in it. And most of the guys that went to boxing as a career, as a profession,
mm-hmm.
they end up broke, alone. Some of the guys like in terrible conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So when a guy says, okay, I have the talent, I have the skills, but I don't want to let this sport break me and leave me with nothing. So I'm going to angle this career on my own benefit and fuck them. Fuck everyone. Okay, I can understand that. But Ryan, you are you really built for that? Look,
Mm,
Canelo, Canelo Alvarez, there has been some angling in his career. We can
yeah,
say that.
yeah,
Some. But Canelo was sure, okay, you're talking shit to me now, but you're going to be a fan. Just wait.
mm,
You, you, you keep training, you keep doing this thing. Now he's a more accomplished fighter than anyone. But you, Ryan, look, you're taking shortcuts and you're looking for a way out like now in your career,
exactly,
and
exactly.
you're not built for that. You have anxiety problems, you have mental problems. So I think it's gonna do well economically. Yeah, I think it's gonna do well. But you want everyone to think of you like you're doing the right thing. You're gonna get haters even if you're fighting everyone.
Mm.
Even if you're fighting everyone, that people you can fight everyone. But every even with Canelo, Canelo is fighting champion after champion after champion, and he gets criticism. Even even with when he's doing the most, he's getting criticism.
I mean,
And you,
look,
and you are,
but it's not people pleasing so much as I look at that guy and I'm like, look, I don't know that you can make it with the best at 135, let alone 140 or 147. You know what I mean? That I don't. Like Ryan Garcia versus Regis Prograis. How does that go? How
it gets
does
it
that?
gets knocked it gets knocked out to the body. Yeah, it's
Let,
an easy pick.
let me go to Coach. Coach, just as best as you can, right? What do you see for Ryan Garcia? What do you see for him? Like, how do you imagine that career, given all this stuff that we see here and now, when he hasn't even fought for a belt yet? He ain't even like been a champion or nothing like that. How do you see it going later on? Like, what happens?
You know what? That's a good question, Jules, because from a the thing for me is mental. I don't know. I don't know if Ryan Garcia is mentally tough enough to deal with the adversities that he may have to go through in order to become a champion on this level. Yes, he does have talent. He's very marketable to from a marketing standpoint. He reminds me a little of De La Hoya in the '90s when he was the Golden Boy, and he's the looks and stuff like
No,
that.
yeah, I mean, like just on the outside, the shell, yeah. But what we could say, because we grew up in that era, is Oscar for all his flaws, he had a dog in him. Like, yeah, that motherfucker fight, fam. Like, don't get him mad. Motherfucking Mayorga got him mad, and you see what he did to Mayorga. Vargas got him mad, and you see what he did to Vargas. Don't get him mad. Ryan looked like if you get him mad, he gonna cry.
No, you hit the nail right on the head, and I talked about that today on my show. I said, regardless of what you may think about De La Hoya, regardless of his personal life right now, when that guy was a fighter, he fought everybody.
Yep.
Win, lose, or draw, he did that. And when you look at his resume, like, man, he fought this guy, he fought Tito, he fought Ike Cortez, he fought B-Hop, this dude fought Chavez, he fought the Camacho. I mean, this dude fought
Everybody,
so he
Sweet
fought
Pete,
everybody.
everybody.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Pernell Whitaker, he fought everybody. So I don't see that in Ryan though. I just don't. I think what's missing with some of these fighters today, well, as it relates to Ryan Garcia, and I just keep it on topic. I don't know if he's mentally tough, Jules. I don't know. I don't know how he would respond if he have to get in a dog fight and that check left hook doesn't work. If he hit the guy and it doesn't get him out of there and he has to. I really don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't. That's
Let me
that's
go
what
to let me go to Alfred. Different question for Alfred. We all know that Ryan fought Luke Campbell in a WBC eliminator to become the mandatory. That's what that shit was for. At least that's what it was billed as. When you saw that Ryan wasn't going to chase that Devin Haney fight, what was your thoughts?
Can you hear me good?
I can hear you.
Okay. First thought was he's a product of the culture now. I mean, you don't want to risk your O, so you're not going to take that chance. And it's a fight that you definitely not going to look good in if you fight Haney. And another thing about this culture is, you know, outside of a few guys that's right at the tip top, like a Better Beeve or the younger Charlo or Inui, these guys, when you put these other guys in with lesser guys, I mean, they look terrible. You put lesser guys in with Inui and all them guys. I mean, I expected Ryan to stop. What was the last guy he fought? The African guy?
The Emmanuel to go guy. Yep.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna stop him. I mean, if you were really a star, you put him in with a lesser guy. I mean, it's supposed to be showcase. You put these other guys in showcase fights. I mean, so if you fight somebody like Haney, it's definitely not going to be a showcase. You're going to have to bring your A game to try to find him.
So how do you see it go? So with that, you see that he still, it's all, like, I feel when he talk about Gervonta, it's a crutch because you know it's politics, you know it's networks. For all the times you mention him, you know damn good and well he's not gonna fight on the zone. That's where you fight. If Eddie Hearn and $8 million for Tevin Farmer, if that wasn't enough to bring him over, what the hell you got that's gonna bring him over? Nothing. You don't got nothing. And you ain't going to Showtime. If Oscar didn't want to send Munguia to Showtime, why the hell would he want to send Ryan to Showtime? That's why it looks like a crutch to me, because I'm like, bro, why are you still talking about Gervonta? That shit is not about to happen. When you think about what's happening now, that you still doing that shit, been 2 years, you still doing that same old shit. How is his career going to end?
I mean, unless he gets some kind of wake up call, it's gonna be real forgettable. Kind of like Francisco Bajado. You know, I was high on him when he was fighting, and nobody even mentions Francisco Bajado now. I mean, he was hot just like Ryan was, and he started putting him in there with tougher competition, and he just faded away. He just faded away. And I think Ryan is going to be like that. Ryan may actually leave instead of just get beat. He might just leave.
He did say he want to retire at 26. How old is he now?
You're right. 26.
Like
I mean, no, 20,
25.
22, 23, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that because you know, and I'm not knocking her, by the way, but I saw it. And all these things are happening at or around the same time. It's an MMA fighter. Her name Valerie Laredo, right? She's in Bellator. Now they offered her a WWE contract, and for the bread, I get it. Like, pay your bills. I get it. Like, I do. But I see something like that for him. That, like, man, if they offer him if they do the Seventh Heaven series over and they want to cast Ryan, he'll get the fuck out of boxing in a heartbeat, bro. He don't love this shit.
Money.
You don't love this shit, like, nah. And you know, far be it for me to tell him. I can only say what I think about what I'm seeing. You know, I'm not. It ain't even being critical. It's more like when I see him, this is what I think, and I'm telling you. Virtuoso, how does it end for Ryan Garcia?
I agree.
I mean, I couldn't say better. I couldn't.
Yeah.
He left me speechless.
Just to add to Virtuoso's amazing point, Ryan Garcia, man, respect your fucking elders, bro. Plus, you looked up to him. You were in his gym. You was bum licking him. Now that you see how this generation's so two-faced, Jules. When you're with him, you're bum licking him. But obviously, as he leaves you, you're talking shit behind him. Respect your fucking elders, bro. Especially what he's doing. He's Mexican. You're Mexican, bro. He's a fucking legend of your country. Behave yourself.
Yeah, like, I just don't see that it's like when Mike Tyson was coming up, you knew that he revered fighters like Muhammad Ali.
Bro.
He revered
respect.
He revered his predecessors, and that is something that I do not really see in Ryan. They're like, yo, you think you it already. And you know what? I don't know. Sometimes that works for some people, but I just don't get the sense that's going to work for him.
That makes you more likable as well. Like, look, that video of Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali on a TV show, but it's still going viral on TikTok and YouTube Reels right now. I still remember what he said. He goes, "Listen, I'm the baddest man on the planet, but when it comes to him, he's the greatest of all time, without a doubt." And he bows down to him. The people respect you more and love you more when you respect your elders who made the fucking way for you, and you're chatting shit like that, bro. That doesn't make you look good, bro.
Now let me read this.
I heard my name being mentioned.
Hold on, let me read this question. The Moon, can anyone confirm that Jessica is definitely moving down? Listen, Rick Ramos been saying it. Jessica been saying it. They don't want to stay at 47. But at the same time, they're talking about a Chantel Cameron fight. So the most I could say is Hannah Gabriel's very recently fought for 2 alphabet titles at 1 weight. They had her fight for a vacant heavyweight title and a light heavyweight title. So maybe they do Cameron versus McCaskill at a catch weight for the belts that Cameron has at 40 and Jessica's undisputed. They could work it out that way, that they can if they so choose. These alphabet organizations, they make their rules up as they go along. Case in point, why does Juan Francisco Estrada, if he a franchise champion, how the fuck he got a mandatory? When y'all made that shit, y'all said that franchise champions don't have mandatories. And y'all said it was non-transferable. Now it's transferable and it has mandatories. Y'all make that they make all that shit up as they go along, man.
Imagine being called like the
Paulie Malignaggi saying that's a super championship. Like the WBA has a super champion, it's the same thing with the WBC, but they didn't fucking say that in the beginning, did they?
They want it to be that. The problem is the WBA super is recognized by the other 3. The WBC franchise is not recognized by the other 3. If I go to the WBO's ranks, right, not even right now because it's different now. Devin is the man, right? Before, when people was arguing about who's the real WBC, Teofimo or Devin, if you went to the IBF, you know whose name you saw under the WBC? Devin
Haney.
If you went to the WBA site, whose name you saw? Devin. If you went to the IBF site, whose name you saw? Devin. So you knew with that the world title, the WBC world, is the recognized version, not no franchise. So when I see Juan, I'm like, y'all made him that, right? And y'all said it wasn't no mandatory. Like, what's the game? Like, why y'all fucking up fights? In other words, because what you really doing is fucking up fights. I know Franco want to fight him, and that's cool. I want a Chocolatito rematch, fam. That's what I want, and y'all fucking that up. And now, in WBC, they ordered him to fight Chocolatito, but it's like, look. If he was gonna fight Franco in the summer, leave him alone. Let him fight Franco in the summer. Then he could fight Chocolatito later. Perfect schedule. Nah, y'all both fucking it up. Y'all working against each other. WBA wants him to satisfy their mandatory. WBC wants him to satisfy their mandatory, even though he shouldn't fucking have one. The shit don't make sense. They make it all up as they go along, and they take your money while you do it.
Can I say something?
How Estrada accepted to get that belt, bro, because like you just said, man, so the point was to not have any mandatories, and now I have a mandatory. Exactly. Now I gotta pay fees to fight this mandatory guy. Like, what's going on?
The shit makes no sense. Go ahead, whoever that was before.
Yeah, this
yeah.
My thing is with all the other titles, all these regular titles and stuff, back in the day, you used to have just the regular titles, and then you had like the USBA title and stuff like that. And whoever had that title was most likely like the number 1 contender. So you knew that guy was next. It wasn't a regular WBA title where you can manipulate it like they do Tank Davis. Oh, this is for his 3rd world title in the 3rd weight division, stuff like that. If it was just the regular title and Gervonta Davis had the USBA title, no argument. Because he's not a 3-division world champion. He's not.
And I'm gonna say that.
One second. I got a friend. I got a good friend of mine. He's a boxing casual. He loves Tank for some reason. And he says, Tank is the world champion. I said, bro, he's not. Josh Taylor is fucking the WBA. And At that time, it was George Kambosos who had the WBA at 135. Said, bro, he's not the real champion. Check it. I showed it on him. Nah, man. I don't trust it. This is what I mean. Boxing makes it so hard for the casuals to catch along. They don't know.
What's going on let me say this. What's going on with Tank is kind of like what happened with hip hop between 95 and 2001. People fall in love with an image and an idea. A lot of them guys was not what they said they was. Like Mobb Deep, their music was great, but they wasn't gangsters, man. Y'all getting robbed by guys in LES. That Spanish kid, True Life. Yeah, like all that shoot 'em up shit, that's made up. A lot of these guys ain't what they say they are, feel me? And that's kind of like what boxing is now with these baby belts. They're like, you want him to be a champion. You really want him to be that, but he's not that. Like, nah, for as much as you could like the way he fights. You could buy his pay-per-views. But when you start calling him a 3-division champion, you lying to yourself. By definition, he is not that. You picking up Reggie belts, fam. You picking up you picking up, that would be like saying that when Canelo had the WBA at middle, that Ryota Murata was a champion too. No, he wasn't. Canelo was the WBA champion at middleweight, when he had them 3 straps. Simple as, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not complicated. They make it complicated because they want to believe the lie. You know what I mean? Just like, nothing against Teofimo. I was one of the channels that was adamant. This man is not undisputed. You're not undisputed till you get Devin's belt. That's when you undisputed. If you don't get it, you're not undisputed. But you still had people harping that, no, he's undisputed because what are you talking about, fam? You franchise. That shit got made 2 years ago. That shit don't got no lineage. She's like, what the fuck are we like? Why are we even arguing this shit when we all know it's true? And it's because people want to believe the lie. If you like Davis, if you don't care about who he fight and you just want to see him, cool. Shit, Butterbean sold a lot of tickets on that premise. I defy you to tell me who he fought besides a very old Larry Holmes when he was like 50-something. That's the most notoriable opponent he ever fought, was a very old Larry Holmes. Other than that, people just showed up to see the attraction. If you like him and you don't care who he fight, you could do that. It's your money. You could spend it. But you're not going to sit here and tell me he this, that, and the other. Nah, these cats is for real. He not. Simple. Ain't complicated.
Why is Top Rank going?
Appreciate that Century Gothic. Also appreciate that Willie Lynch. All these belts and designations, while undisputed, is an automatic 12% off the top. Ridiculous. They won't be happy till champions are paying 50%. Well, I'm also going to say this. It's up to the promoters and the powers that be to decide, because the people that have the power in that situation, believe it or not, it's not the promoters. Canelo showed everybody that in 2016 when he told the WBC, fuck you and fuck your belt. I'm on my time. I'm not applauding it, but that was a display of power that you need to be associated with my fights more than I need you to be associated with my fights, because I'm going to make money. The only reason you're in such a hurry to be associated with what I'm doing is because of, the revenue that it's going to generate, all right? The moment I don't want your fucking belt, it don't matter. No sanction and fees for you. And ever since then, they've been licking his ass and playing ball, because it is a power struggle. You can play that game if you want to, like Dillian White, and wait for 2.5 years to get a shot that you should have been got. I said it then. They're like, if it was me, I wouldn't keep going the WBC route. I'd go the IBF route. I'd go after Joshua, because this endeavor to fight Wilder, who he never got to fight by way of the proper channels, he went through the proper channels, but he never got the guy that he wanted. He ended up with Fury. And I don't even, looking back, I'm like, I think he would have preferred to have gotten Wilder. That seemed to be his focus, was getting Wilder. Fury's a different kettle of fish. And the fighters, their promoters, their managers, they pick the path. You the ones that's paying to be ranked by the IBF or the WBC or the WBA or the WBO. If you're going to let them play games with you the way they play games with him, well, I mean, you're kind of doing it to yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, also, I think Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, I mean,
That's how I think Floyd Mayweather did too. I think he had the WBC and WBA belts at 54 for like 2.5, 3 years.
yes, he
And I
did.
mean, yeah, because Lara probably should have been champion long before he became champion. So
They
if
bent
you
the
bring
rules for Floyd.
in the money, they let you get away with it.
They bent the like that. That was the WBA. I remember that he held the WBA at 54, and I believe I think he was also simultaneously holding a BA at 47. I know they did it with Leo. With Leo, he still has the BA at 26 after he went up and won the BA at 30, got knocked the fuck out and lost it, but they still let him keep the BA at 26. They make the rules up as they go along. So if you're Lee Wood, for example, you paying sanctioning fees to fighting eliminators so that one day you could fight for the full one, and you getting jerked because they not look, where's the order to fight Leo? Where is it? Remember, he already fucking knocked out Mick Conlon. How many months ago was that? How many? By now, y'all should have been done strip Leo and gave his belt to Lee Wood. Have they done that? No. So what are you paying them for? For what?
I don't think Leo want that smoke.
In this situation, we know who the real champion is and should be. Is fucking Wood, not fucking Leo, because he hasn't fought for what, 3-4 years now.
He hasn't
But
fought
he still
as
has
a
that belt.
featherweight.
How?
He hasn't fought as a featherweight literally in like 2.5 or 3 years. He ain't fought as a featherweight. Why y'all letting him hold a belt at featherweight that he is not defending? Then you stopping up the ranks. You got guys, and because they're paying you, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These guys are giving us sanctioning fees anyway because we keep giving them empty promises. They keep giving us their money. It's like, you should have went the IBF route. At least the one thing about the IBF I could say is there ain't no IBF regular. There's no IBF regular, bro. There's no IBF silver. Like when you're going up the ranks by way of the IBF, you eventually become the mandatory, and they eventually order the fight. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how to do it.
I have an idea. If you win a belt, and let's say you win that belt, you get a chance to be champion for, let's say, 2 or 3 years. The other guys win the championship, and if they're a champion at least 2 or 3 years, you automatically make a tournament out of all 4 champions.
Of course.
And if you don't defend your title, let's strip you.
The promoters, see, it's a double-edged sword. The promoters would never go for an acquiescent. They would never acquiesce to that. The promoters, they would never acquiesce to that. But also the sanctioning bodies would not want to put themselves in a position where they miss out on sanctioning fees, because what's paramount is the sanctioning fees to them. That's why they're willing to mass produce belts that, okay, well, that PBC fighter, he doesn't want to fight that matchroom fighter, but that matchroom fighter wants a belt. So what we going to do? Here's this Reggie, yo. Hold on to that Reggie. And that's how they sort it out, when ideally the alphabet organization is supposed to be the middleman that makes fights in an ideal world. They would make the fights happen. And look, y'all better sort it out or somebody gonna get stripped. Give y'all an example. 2017, I believe it was, they ordered a fight between Mikey Garcia and Jorge Linares, right? Jorge had the diamond WBC. He didn't have the full one. Mikey had the full one. He had won it from Dejan's Latigiani, who was unbeaten at the time. He knocked him out. And when they couldn't reach a deal, they didn't strip Mikey. They just, all right, well, y'all just didn't reach a deal. So you going to stay with your WBC diamond, and you going to stay with your full. And fuck it, when ideally, listen, fellas, if y'all don't reach a deal, you getting stripped, Mikey. You're getting stripped. You got to fight this guy. That's an order. If you don't want to abide by our order, you don't need our belt. But because you want the sanctioning fees from a Mikey Garcia fight, you let him keep it. And because you want the sanctioning fees from a Jorge Linares fight, you let him keep it. And that's why there's so many. That's why they mass produce them, because it's like, well, we getting money from him, and them. So why would we want to limit it to one belt when we could get money from all of y'all and jerk y'all around and y'all just gonna take it?
Isn't in the WBC or these sanctioning bodies meant to be non-profit the way BLM was?
Yeah, but nobody believes that shit, bro. Like, come on, man. Nobody believes that shit.
Does
Like,
the WBC follow the same rules? Like, if you're ordered to fight somebody and you all don't reach a deal, doesn't it supposed to go to a purse bid?
oh yeah, but that's why they're hesitant to. I mean, like, plain old rules. You get a grace period to do a fight. If the fight is not done within the grace period, it goes to a purse bid. But you know that depending on the situation, they'll delay the order to thereby delay the purse bid. Wilder versus White should have been ordered a long fucking time ago. They dragged their feet. They let Fury fight for the belt 2 times without ordering White to, like White should have been a factor. To the BC, he was no factor. When ideally, that man been waiting a minute. When are y'all going to order this shit? Y'all freezing up y'all own ranks. And that's why I said that, look, Dillian probably should have went another route because they've wasted a lot of your time and they've taken a lot of your money. When you fight, you paying sanctioning fees to hold that position as the WBC silver or the WBC interim. You paying them and they're jerking you around. And that's the bane of the alphabet organizations. It's like, ideally, y'all supposed to be that middleman that makes fights between feuding promoters and rival platforms. You're supposed to be that middleman that makes them come to the table and negotiate, but they don't do that. They instead accommodate and promote the division. Like, okay, well, Devin got the real WBC and Teofimo got the real WBA, but we gonna give Gervonta this Reggie because we know that his promoters don't want him to fight him and him, but he wants something. So here's this Reggie. And you could go back to Showtime and tell him you a champion and a couple of bozos that eat it up. When in reality, no, you're not the real champion. The real WBA, Teofimo had it, and Loma had it before him, and Linares had it before him, so on and so forth. That's how they getting money from 3-4 different promoters when really it should only be one champion with your organization.
And the audacity of fucking Floyd Mayweather to fucking say, "Oh, there's so many belts," when his own boy is a flipping Reggie champion in 3 divisions.
Well, most people think that Floyd is actually addressing the issue when what he's really trying to do is belittle whoever else has a belt. Don't you see the week that Devin went to Australia and became an undisputed champion, not but a few days later, who comes out talking about his too many belts? Floyd. You only saying it's too many belts because Gervonta ain't got them. You only saying it's too many belts because Devin got them belts, and you know you ain't about to make Davis versus Haney. That's why you saying that. You trying to marginalize the guys that's going out there and fighting in them fight. Oh, it's too many belts anyway. All right, then tell Gervonta to drop his. Problem solved.
You know what's ironic? There was like right at the first time he said there was too many belts. One statement he said, he was like, "Look, guys, there's no such thing as a super champion or anything." And that was like literally a month after like he beat Leo Santa Cruz for the super 130 belt. I was like, "Yo, wait, you're not gonna talk about this?"
No,
No,
and,
that's
and,
just
the, me-
funny
and,
at this point.
and the media is not going to press him about it because the media wants access. And I've talked about this in the past that the dynamic now is different. You don't always have Joe Blow that's being paid by SportsCenter or ESPN asking the questions. What you have are freelancers that depend on access to produce content, and they don't want to endanger their access asking uncomfortable questions, things that people want to know. Well, they don't want to jeopardize their access asking those questions, so they ask softball questions like Ellie Sackback. Hey, Gervonta, what kind of sauce do you put in your taco? You gonna rotate the tires on your Lamborghini? You know, stupid shit that nobody really wants to know. How many times you gonna tell Gervonta that Canelo likes his fights? He knows, bro. He knows. He asked him again this way, like, bro, how many times you gonna ask him that? When are you gonna ask him about Devin Haney? You know, like, you a superstar, right? So if you a superstar, you should be able to pay Devin Haney what he gets. You should be able to make that if you're a superstar. But you're not a superstar. You're a local draw at best.
Hey, Jules,
Yeah, coach.
the crazy part about it is it's like what you said. Like Floyd sit back and say, hey, we have too many belts. Yeah, but Devin Haney has all of the real belts. And I was watching an interview with Dev because he was saying that he was going to drop the French fries belt if he wanted. But then some people kind of giving him some flack about, he said he was going to drop the belt, he didn't drop it. But I understand why. Because of the politics, like you say, what they're playing, what they're going to do is, he was saying, listen, first y'all said I was an email champ, so I got that belt. Then, the French fries belt, the franchise belt, that was a made up belt. I got that belt. So I got all of the belts. So hypothetically, if he dropped the French fries belt, well, you really ain't no champion, because the belt that you needed, you let it go, so you're not the champion anymore. So he said, well, the hell with it, I'm going to just keep all of them. The two WBC belts along with the other major belts, and then what you have to say now. You see what I'm saying? So I get exactly why I get exactly what he was saying, and I probably realize now, he shouldn't drop it. Just keep it, because these people, like you said, Jules, they change the rules as it, however they feel that day.
And Floyd changed the rules for what? See, Floyd to say it's too many belts, but let Gervonta Davis drop the WBA and see if Mayweather Promotions don't go ahead, try to pick it up. Because what they're doing with Davis and what they have been doing, they'll have him hang on to the Reggie, waiting for somebody to vacate, whether it's Loma or Teofimo. Now it's Devin. It's like, as soon as he move up, they're going to shoot for that super title. And they'll say whatever the fuck they saying now, and tomorrow it'll be some other shit, because, that's just the business. It's a lot of fucking slime balls in it. It's a lot of double talkers. Floyd, Bob, they all double talk, man. That's just the business. But when you hear him come out and say a few days after Devin Haney becomes an undisputed champion, it's too many belts out here. Man, no, it ain't, because Devin got all them shits. It ain't too many. He got all them shits. So what's stopping you now from making a fight between him and Gervonta Davis, your fighter? What's stopping you? Don't say George. Pay him to step aside. Ain't you Money Mayweather? Make it happen, fam. You Money Mayweather, ain't you? All this
the $4 million, he gonna have to pay Devin probably.
Yeah, like it's crazy to me. It's like and it's morbid also, because you see that people support it, and it's like, well, wait a minute. If you a fan of this sport, if you claim to be a boxing fan, well, you should want to see boxing matches, shouldn't you? You're telling me you're happy with Davis versus Romero. You're happy with Davis versus Cruz. You don't want to see him fight Loma, Haney, no, none of it. You don't want to see. You happy with him fighting Frankenbeans? I don't even know how to wrap my mind around that. Like, I guess that makes one of us. Whatever you like about him, that communicates to me that whatever you like about that fighter doesn't have a whole lot to do with the fighting or the boxing. It's some other kind of infatuation, some other affinity that you have. Because if you a boxing fan, of course I want to see Tyson Fury fight Alexander Usyk. Of course I want to see Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Regis, you name it, man. The quality guys from 135 to 140. Why wouldn't I? Tyree says, I miss Larry Merchant post-fight questions. Yeah, because Larry wasn't scared to make people uncomfortable. We could say what we want, but he wasn't scared to ask you shit that maybe you don't want people asking you. Willie says, WBC, we be crooks. WBA, we belt anyone, or we back Al, as in Al Heyman, because it's a proliferation of WBA titles at the PBC. It's not a coincidence.
Jules, you know who reminds me of Larry Merchant? Not too much, but maybe a little bit. I think it's Radio Raheem when he answers questions in his interview. He gets to the point, and he's not a bum chum. Like fucking.
I mean, I always liked Radio Raheem's line of questioning, because he tries to present it in a cordial way. But it is what you want to know. It is like the question. If you pay attention, he asks the shit you want to know. As far as the media here, he asks what you want to know. He's not obnoxious or rude about it, but he asks what you want to know. He asked Leonard, well, what's the problem between you and Eddie? And Leonard not going to come right out and say it, but I know I've always known what the problem is. You have a rival promoter who has a rival platform, and he's been offering your fighter more money than he's been making with you. That's your problem. That's always been the problem. Yeah, Eddie creates an environment where you're going to have to step it up, or you're going to have to tell Davis something, because this man in 2019 offered your fighter $8 million for a fight that wasn't even worth $8 million, right? And you had to convince Davis not to take it. You had to convince him. Remember, Davis didn't debut on pay-per-view till fall of 2020. The year before that, Eddie offered him $8 million to come to the zone. You had to talk him out of it. That's why you don't like Eddie, because and that's the same reason Bob don't like him, because he doing that same shit right now with B-Vol and Artur. They're like, yo, we'll pay for the fight. We'll pay for the fight if you don't want to. And with Bob, it's like, well, we don't want you to pay for the fight. We don't want the fight to be on your platform. All right, then you pay B-Vol. No, we don't want to have to overpay to bring. All right, then what the fuck do you want then, fam? You don't want to make the fight. You want to send him to London to fight Anthony Yard because it's cheaper. Simple. None of it is hard to understand.
Hey, but Jules, you're in there right on the head. That's kind of crazy, right? Because, you know, Eddie Hearn came over, he kind of disrupted the market, so to speak, offering these fighters more money than what they're making. And then what happens is, to me, he pulled the covers off of them. Like, no, these fighters, you know, this stuff that Leonard them is talking about, yeah, we the money team and this and that, and Floyd. No, you guys ain't these fighters. You're paying these fighters $1.5 million, B. Like, you paying these fighters $1 million, 1.5, get the rest on the back end, whatever the hell that means. people who make this back end argument.
What back end?
Yeah, people who make this back end argument, Jules. Okay, what is it? When do you get it? How does the back end work? You see what I'm saying?
What type of back end?
They were saying back end money about fights that were happening on like regular Showtime, bro. What back end are you talking about? What are you talking about? Back end money? Ain't no back end money, right? Ain't no upside of this regular. Ain't no upside of it's a regular fucking Showtime fight. So now, where it becomes unethical, and a Boxing Scene already did an article about it. Eddie Hearn himself already addressed it on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, that where it becomes unethical is that Bob is now acting in the best interests of his broadcast partner as opposed to his client, his fighter. Your fighter is 37 fucking years old, fam. He don't got all the time in the world to be in the big fights. The B-Vol fight is a bigger fight for him than a yard fight. But what you focused on, a yard fight, because it's cheaper, because you could keep things in network between you and Frank, when in reality, the fight that Artur needs, he, the fighter, is the B-Vol fight. Yard ain't going nowhere. Fuck he going. That's when it becomes unethical. I understand all of it, that you get your budget from a network, and to some degree you have to prioritize them because they're the people that are giving you a budget. I understand all of that. I'm not even knocking that. Like, yeah, at some point you have to work around that. But realistically also, because you can't give everyone what they want, somebody's getting fucked. Right now, who I see is getting fucked is the fighter. Matchroom is willing to pay Artur more to come over there and do that fight with Dimitri than you're going to pay him to fight Yard. And that is a fighter that is not getting any fucking younger. So you're fucking him. There's no two ways. You're fucking him. Unless you're going to give him some good ass. Like you tell me, Sawab, what's a Yard fight worth in the UK? Is that like a big fight?
Yeah, bro. I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. Even say Yard beats Batebiev and say Yard versus B-Vol. That's not a big fight either, bro. Even though it's for undisputed, it's not a big fight. Where are they gonna put it? In York Hall? Fucking 5,000 people coming watching him York Hall. Okay, he's looking to hire the O2 out. How many tickets is he gonna sell? He's not gonna sell it out. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that fight is not getting sold out, bro. Maybe 10, 15. Nah, 5 to 10. That's how much he's selling out.
All right, let me answer some questions. If Haney versus Tank happened, what do I believe the fight is worth? Okay, based on market value, right? because I don't believe that fight sells 400,000 pay-per-view buys. I don't. So I'm going to base it on, I would put the value of that fight with appropriate promotion. It could bring in 300 to 350,000, come close to 400,000, but it won't hit it. So based on that, you know, you get the calculator out, $80 times, let's say, let me do it right now. I'll do it right now. Let's put the value of the fight at 350,000 pay-per-view buys multiplied by 80. That could bring you $28 million. Remember, the cable and satellite companies take half. So then you have to divide that by 2. 14 million. So what's the right number to give Devin Haney as an undisputed champion? $7 million.
And how much does Tank get? 3 million?
You could give Tank 7. You could give him 7. Remember, we haven't factored in the gate. We don't leave that extra money. Just leave it. Don't even count it. If Tank, right, which is why I say that, look, he is a draw. He brought in $5 million at the gate with Rolly Romero. He is a draw. He's a local draw, but yeah, he's a draw. All right, so just go off the pay-per-view buys. I think that fight could do 350,000. If you can do 250 with Rolly or 275 with Rolly or whatever, right? You could do 350 with Devin Haney. Yeah, you could with the right promotion. But you motherfuckers got to do your job.
I was looking at a higher number, somewhere between 450 to 500.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, to be honest. Like 275 with Rolly is kind of insane when you think about it. That's truly a trash. Like they really sold us like Tank versus a Rock practically.
Bro, they sold us Tank versus a short bus kid, right?
Yeah, like that's literally what everybody knew. I was confused that it hit even 100. I was like, yo, really?
But
well,
also, fam, we taking the numbers at face value, and my gut tells me, man, that motherfucking shit ain't do no 275. That shit did 220 something at best. 220 something.
That's still 220 too much, bro. Like there's no way that shit sold that much.
Yeah, and this fight, Tank and the fucking retard, that fight has made, and I think what I'm saying, Beterbiev and Yard fight is not gonna make that much. They will even pay-per-views, even though it's $20. They're not gonna sell that many pay-per-views. So if those cucks like who supports Tank and Rolly, what's the difference between you fucking Alexis and those fucking PBCs?
Oh, come on, we ain't gonna spend all day on Alexis.
Fuck Alexis. Where is he? Why is he hiding? Jules, he would never come onto your channel, bro. I got him by his balls. He ain't moving. He ain't coming.
So you all don't think that promoted real good as an undisputed fight might make Tank's fanatics not stream and actually buy the pay-per-view? More of them buy the pay-per-view instead of streaming it.
Well, Tank's fanatics, you got to pay attention to the metrics, right? The people, or the number of people that pay for a Gervonta Davis fight, seem to hover around 200,000, right? So you know that you got that. You know that you got that. Now you want to get at another 150,000, all right? And these are the people that you sell the undisputed fight to. That, look, this is for undisputed. These is 2 young, unbeaten American fighters fighting for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. And I firmly believe, yeah, you do 350,000 with that. I believe you would. If you can get upwards, just upwards, whether it's 225 or 250, if you can get upwards of 200,000 people to buy Davis versus Romero, you can get well over that to buy Davis versus Haney, because this is for all the marbles. This is the kind of fight that people have been waiting for. And once again, when you crunch the numbers, you know, $80 price point, approximately 350,000 pay-per-view buys projected that you think it will do, all right, then cut that number in half, because half has to go to the cable and satellite company. You got 14 mil. That's 7 for Devin, 7 for Davis, not even counting the gate. Let's say that the gate is a little better than the gate that he just did, because this is undisputed. If you did 5 at the gate with fucking Rolly, you could probably do at least 7 or 8 with Devin, because it's undisputed, right? But another element of it is also, don't kid yourself, they're protecting their investment. They don't feel the need to put him in risky situations when he can get 5 at the gate with a Rolly. Sell
You know, it's funny.
Go ahead.
Now, I was gonna say, you know, it's funny. My dad taught special ed for 26 years, and when he saw Rolly Romero, first thing he said, "There's something wrong with that boy." I'm serious. I'm serious. My dad said, "There's something wrong with that boy."
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Oh shit! I mean, like, honest to God, it's like it's also protecting your investment, because if you're Leonard, the only fighter that you have that draws anything, and the only fighter that you have that has any potential to draw anything, it's one guy. It's just one guy. Something happens to him, what do you got? You know? So if you're Leonard, well, what the hell am I going to put him in there with Devin and Lopez and Loma? And what am I going? He's all I got. And we getting 5 at the gate with Rolly. 200 and change pay-per-view sold. So it's also a protection plan. I'm not going to put him in no shit. So what? So that he could fucking lose? And then what the fuck do I got? Nothing.
Jules, let me ask you a question. So and y'all know Booger Ray is my favorite promoter, Booger Ray Leonard. But can he really call himself a promoter? You only have one fighter.
I don't consider him a promoter, to be honest with you.
He's an employee.
I define promoters as what Don King was, and that was a guy that is going to sell you a fight. He going to sell it to you. See, Don, we could say what he want, that he killed, whatever, bro. All I know is if Don was putting on a show, motherfuckers bought it.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, that's
motherfuckers
real. That's
bought
true.
it. All right. Bob, similar dynamic. He bought his BI. That, he'll put together a show and he bought his BI. Eddie is about his BI. And they don't have it all riding on one guy. If you notice, like, all right, Vasil Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez. Was that the end of the world for Top Rank? No.
Nope.
That's their fighter. Lopez is their fighter. Then Lopez, he gets beat by George. What does Top Rank do? George, you with us now, bro. And your next fight is with us now, bro. Right? When you fight Devin, it's going to be with us, bro. Some real shit.
I actually miss Don King because we actually got fights. I mean, Don did cross promotions with everybody. And if he was going to make some money off of it, he did it.
Yeah. And you think about Matchroom, everybody think that, if AJ lose, Matchroom this and Matchroom that, not realizing Matchroom has kind of been. He is quietly becoming a draw among other fighters that they're grooming. They got other fighters that sell, perhaps not as much as AJ. But I guess what distinguishes the real promoters from Leonard to me is, Leonard, you got one guy. It's like when they say, yo, you have one job, fam. You got one fighter you promoting, fam. What are you doing? How many shows are you doing a year? Two fucking shows. 2 Gervonta Davis fights. As opposed to Bob and Top Rank, as opposed to motherfucking Hearn and Matchroom, as even Golden Boy do more shows than you, and they don't even got a deep stable, but they do more shows than you. So it's like, I look at Leonard more as like, you just Floyd's employee, bro. Like, you just, you like, what do they call that shit? A steward. You like a steward. You taking care of shit while Floyd's in Dubai getting hair plugs. That's what.
Well, I disagree. I disagree with you because I had a guy call me yesterday, and he told me that Leonard Ellerby has put together some of the biggest selling fights in the sport of boxing. This guy was dead serious. He was trying to argue with me. He wouldn't let me talk on my own show. So I let him talk. Man, you don't know what you're talking about. Leonard put on some of the biggest fights in the history of the sport of boxing. Eddie Hearn didn't do that. I said, bro, Leonard Ellerby was literally the spit bucket guy.
He literally was. Like, he's correlating, and I love this. He's correlating the magnitude of Floyd's fights to something that Leonard was not promoting shit, fam. Leonard was literally in the corner carrying spit buckets and rubbing ice on Floyd's chest. That's what he was doing, right? Like what the fuck? Like, but it's and that's why, look, I'm fucking old. I don't have the energy to argue dumb shit. Like, I don't have it, bro. Like, if you too dumb to understand the shit that I'm saying, you don't need to understand it, and I don't need to say it. You just go about your business. Because this is simple. Leonard has one fighter, if Gervonta Davis steps on a Lego or stubs his toe on a coffee table and he can't fight, what else is Leonard gonna do? Who we got? Who else you gonna put on? Because Isaac Cruz is not your fighter. Isaac is a Manny Pacquiao Promotions fighter. He not your fighter. Your fighter is Rolly. Richardson Hitchens, y'all just lost him.
Wait, they did?
I just seen some shit that he signed to Keith Connolly, and he could pop up anywhere right now. I just seen that
that's
yesterday.
bad. That's bad. God damn, that was like the only other guy I knew. Oh, and Angelo Leo's still there, I guess.
I don't even know if I ain't seen Angelo Leo since he lost the belts to Fulton.
And the
Can't argue with those people.
The thing is, dude, like he's the CEO. He's the CEO of Mayweather Promotions, and Mayweather Promotions did this and that. I said, brother, what CEO do you know is in the corner rubbing Floyd down and carrying the spit bucket?
Seriously.
What CEO of a promotional company, you don't see Bob Arum in the corner with his fighters? Well, he's 90 years old, but you don't see Eddie Hearn over there. You don't do like what promoter you know? We're not, bro. Like, come
Coach,
on,
I got the answer. He's a back-end CEO. He's a back-end CEO.
Let me answer this. If something should happen to Bob Arum, right, Moon, the ones who will take control is his son-in-law, Todd Duboff, who is already, he already doing things, for those that are not aware, Todd Duboff, and Carl Moretti. They the ones that are captain the ship if, something would have happened to Bob. And those, those tools are already in place. It's not like Todd is not doing, he's already working and shit like that. He already be doing shit, and he been doing shit for a couple of years now. So those is the guys that would be running shit if something would have happened to Bob. But as far as Mayweather Promotions is really centered around one fighter. You see what happened to Golden Boy, who also had it all really riding on one fighter. To their good fortune, they still had a stable of other guys. They got other guys, but none of them meant as much to them as Canelo. And you see the state of them now that he's gone. So imagine if all they had was Canelo, right? That's where Mayweather Promotions is at. The only guy you got that can draw anything is motherfucking Tank. Something happened to him, then what?
What, Jules? Quick question: what would make if Tank knows he could have made more money somewhere else? Eddie Hearn is offering astronomical amounts of money, and you allegedly are a free agent. Why did he stay?
Well, Chris Mannix released something that was very interesting. And what he said was in direct opposition, or at least whatever his source said or whatever his source told him, was that his contract wasn't expired. He still had a year left on it. That's what Chris Mannix said. Make of that what you will, but that's what he said. That his contract wasn't expired. And I maintain a scenario that what if all this bullshit is a manufactured drama to sell this bum-ass fight?
That's what it was.
I remember that video.
That's what it was. I talked about that too. That's what it was.
They cycle through this shit, and I'm like, well, hold on, does Gervonta Davis just use your imagination? Does he want to go to Top Rank? Does he really? No, they're gonna make him earn his bread. He's gonna have to fight people. Does he want to go to Matchroom? Nah, he don't want to be in bed with Eddie. Come on, man. If you was gonna do that, you would have took the 8. If you was gonna do that, the situation that I see is that normally the manager is supposed to be the middleman between the fighter and the promoter to operate in the fighter's best interest, because the promoter is going to look out for the network, but the manager got to look out for the fighter. The situation I see is your manager is cookie crunchy with the promoter. Y'all doing it all like it's one big family thing, and that creates conflicts of interest that Calvin Ford wants him to stay over there. If you read the article from Calvin Ford, while all of that was going on, that fake, I'm leaving, I'm tired, all that bullshit, right? Calvin Ford already said, man, I ain't going nowhere. They eat at the same table. They're all part of the same network. So you already knew, even if Davis were to leave Mayweather Promotions, he wasn't going to leave Showtime, wasn't going to leave Al. So if you don't leave Showtime and Al, it's pretty much the same fucking shit.
Pretty much.
I was going to say, there was an old video out where somebody asked Roger Mayweather about Leonard Ellerby being the CEO, and he just dogging Ellerby out, man. He's dogging Ellerby out.
I remember that.
But coach, you can't argue with people like that. I got friends that I grew up with. They high on Gervonta Davis, and we're in a little chat together. I sent them both of the videos where Gervonta Davis told the guy in the interview that he never asked for none of those fights that people wanted to see him in. And also the video where he was leaning out of the truck and he was like, you know what, Camboso can keep all the belts. I don't want them.
Yep.
Crickets.
It's just the power of belief. And it's just like, look, you go into a job and they got a staff, you the new guy and you evaluating shit, you know what I mean? You know you ain't gonna be cool with everybody. And that's the same thing with this thing, that there's people that they don't operate off of logic. Like they operate off emotion. I'm not like, I can't be that way. It gotta make sense. Everything has to make sense. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck it's for. So if Gervonta's a good fighter, I want to see him fight other good fighters, not these motherfuckers. He older than Devin. And that's the other thing that's weird. Like, y'all talking about this cat like he ain't coming up on 30 when he coming up on 30. He 27 going on 28. He closer to 30 than he is to 20. These young guys, Ryan, Devin, Teofimo, Shakur, these guys in their early 20s. Davis ain't that age group. This is a grown-ass man, and y'all still coddling him like he a fucking prospect. Y'all still matching him like he a prospect.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Jules. And that's the crazy. And brother, you're right about that with Davis. And listen, I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. What I'm saying is if he is who you say he is, then you can't tell me he's that because he knocked out Rolly Romero.
Nah.
Yeah.
Shakur is the fighter that they make Tank out to be. How I know? Look what he did to Jamel Herring. Look what he did to Oscar. Ain't nobody at 130 going to beat him, and I'm saying it. Nobody is going to beat him at 130. Nobody. And I don't even know if it's anybody at 35 that could beat him. By the time he get Loma in the ring, Loma been done lost a step. You don't have no southpaw advantage with Shakur because he's a southpaw, and he's longer than you. And he looked like he walk around heavy, like, man, 35, he going to be strong at 35. Going to be strong at that weight. And fast. And prime, right? All this buzz and bullshit that we hear about Davis, Shakur is the real thing. Keyshawn Davis, that's the only Davis I know. Keyshawn Davis. I don't know about Gervonta Davis.
The only Charlo we know is Mel.
That's how long have I been saying that? So I've been saying the only Charlo I know is Mel. I don't know about no more. I know about Mel. Mel fighting people. Mel fought. People try to belittle what he did, right? Because they got all the junior middles. It don't matter. They got look. Maul got Carlos Adames right there on his side of the street. But when they gave him a choice, we chose to fight Maciej Suliecki. Like, yo, you don't want to fight nobody, bro. You can't see that? The dude don't want to fight nobody. Mel, all the belts is over here and all the people over here. Awesome. Let me get him. Awesome. Didn't take him long neither to get Jason Rosario in the ring. It didn't take long. It didn't take him long to get Brian Castaño in the ring. And those was not going to be easy fights. You see what the fuck Jason did to J-Rock? You see what he beat the shit out of him, fam. But he wanted it. But Jamel wanted to fight. He didn't run from that. She's like, nah, give me that. I need those belts. Castaño. Everybody know Castaño beat Lara. Everybody know Castaño beat Lara. Everybody know that. That wasn't no draw. He got beat. But he went for him.
The only thing I hate about now is that to be undisputed is kind of convenience now. You know, if all the belts are on your side, it's convenience for you to become undisputed. But when somebody else got a belt on the other side, they don't mean as much.
Well, let's say this, and I don't want to make this a Canelo show, certainly not. But Canelo is the exception to the rule, because when three of the belts was on the matchroom side, he got them. And then when it came time to go to somewhere else to get the other belt, did that too. Devin Haney, another exception. You know, he got a belt being at matchroom, but the other belts wasn't at matchroom. All right, well, I guess I got to go somewhere else. Usyk, the uniqueness of his situation, All those belts wasn't under one banner. Yes, he was in a tournament, but he entered that tournament to get what? All the belts. So there are exceptions. There are exceptions, and those three are glaring exceptions to where the guy did what he had to do, whatever he had to do, whether it's I got to get all these belts in all these other different countries, or I gotta get these at Matchroom, then I gotta get this one at the PBC, and I got this one at Matchroom, but I gotta go over the top rank for the rest of these shits. They did what they had to do. They did what they had to do.
Julius, wait. Okay, who is asking for Germán Charlo to be undisputed? Dude, we're asking you to fight one champion.
Facts.
Fuck. Dude, one guy. That's it. And that could give you 2 years, maybe, of people
leaving you alone, you know.
You alone.
And the belt he got was flipping because Canelo left it. He got the franchise belt. That's why you got the WBC belt in the first place. So you haven't beaten any champion for their belt.
Let me read these super chats. Standing 8 says they are keeping him out of jail. Yeah, because that vehicular accident, you know, you don't hear about it, so I don't even know where we are with that. Drew says, I'm here. What I miss, Jules? Nothing major, nothing major. Ellerby says only list they want Tank on is the Forbes list, but they on an EBT budget outfit. Listen, you ain't gonna get on the Forbes list with those fights. No, but that's the reality that you talking like the De La Hoyas, the Leonards, the Floyds, the Pacquiaos, the big purse guys, they was not matched the way your fighter is matched. So if it's your goal to get your fighter on the Forbes list, you ain't going to get him there fighting Rollies because that's not the kind of fights that his own mentor fought. Floyd, I say it all the time, I'll say it here again. We can say what we want, but he fought who needed to be fought. When people said that you lost to McDonald, what'd he do? He ran it back with McDonald. Okay. People thought that the Castillo fight was too close. What he ran it back with Castillo. He eventually fought Manny, but his whole career is not centered around Manny. He also fought Cotto. He also sold 1 million pay-per-view buys with Shane Mosley after Shane beat the holy shit out of Margarito. You know what I mean? So those was good fights. Like, I know people hate to admit it to themselves sometimes, but Floyd fought the people that needed to be fought, which is why the pay-per-view sold. People wanted to see it. All right. 2 million people didn't buy Canelo versus Mayweather because they didn't want to see the fucking fight. You know what I mean? They wanted to see the fight. 1 million people bought the Mosley fight because they wanted to see the fight. All right. So he fought the people that needed to be fought. And that is what his own fighter is not doing. You're not fighting the people that need to be fought, and you're 27. Canelo was the same age you are now when he fought Golovkin for the first time. He was already a bigger draw than you by this age. He already sold 2 mil with Mayweather, another 900,000 with Cotto, 300,000 here, 300,000 there with Angulo and Lara. He was already a bigger draw than you are now at the same age that you are now. So all this, we doing it for the bag. We know you're not doing it for the bag. You're doing it to protect him because the bag ain't going to get put so big with these opponents.
This is why I rate Devin Haney. I look him going to America, him taking that step has made him a fucking legend, even in the casuals. Like, look at Jake Paul. He might not be a casual, but his fans, he himself said, or Jake Paul said, he goes, Devin Haney went to Australia without his dad and fought. I think he was willing to fight without his dad, but you can't fucking do it. So
but big
he made himself an example.
Big swole ass Tommy Fury and all the fucking moose in his hair. We got to hear about your daddy from your daddy. We got to hear from Tyson. Like, bro, like, yo, you too big for this little ass shit. That dude is a cruiserweight. Like, what are you scared to travel? This is a YouTuber. We got to go through all this to see you fight a dude that fought an NBA player, another YouTuber, and 2 MMA guys. Like, come on, B. That's why every chance I get, I bring it up. Devin ain't got no bitch in him. He went to Australia without his father. We didn't know if he was going to get to go. We didn't. The day that he left for Australia, the boxing fans didn't know that Bill would eventually get to go. We didn't know that. We thought he was assed out there in Australia.
Damn, if you
Hey
only have
fellas,
like
I got
Ryan
I got a
Garcia
question.
fame with like Devin Haney balls, maybe you would actually have like the best fighter in boxer right now.
Ryan is not in tune. I'm gonna say this. Ryan is not in tune with his own people. And I mean the Chicano fans, the Mexican fans. He's not in tune with them. To me, he is a Disney Pixar Spanish kid. In the sense that if you know anything about the Chicano fans, they don't give a shit about an unbeaten record. What? Canelo got two losses. He still sell more pay-per-views than everybody, fam. They don't give a shit about an unbeaten record. They just want to know that you not a bitch. Now, the people that fuck with you, that ain't them. The people that fuck with you is the tweens and the teens and the girls with colorful sneakers, people that do TikTok videos. Not them. You know what I mean? Like you protecting your
People,
I just
what?
can't with them. I
people,
can't with Ryan Garcia.
yeah.
It's like a little snot nosed kid, man. Like, hey, get the fuck out of my way with this shit. Like, it's so annoying with him, and like he has ambition, but like he goes in 7 different directions with his career. Like,
Is it
um,
ambition, virtuoso? Do you
it's
feel
ambition. It's ambition to be famous, to be well known, to be likable, to be like. But like you're not really well liked. You're kind of a douche, and like you don't really like accomplish anything, and you're talking all this shit for what?
I don't
bro, the only reason why he's famous on Instagram is because he punched up, I think, Jake Paul and Logan Paul when they had that chest pad on whatever,
Bro,
and it
there are
started hitting him to the
compilations of
body.
him on
That's the main
TikTok,
reason.
right? There are compilations of him on TikTok of him pulling back on his guard and getting clipped, like on numerous occasions.
bro, he
And I'm
closes
like,
his eyes when he shoots the left hook, he closes his eyes.
Yeah,
he's wishing
thing
upon
is,
a
man, like
star. Like, come on,
Yeah,
man,
I
get
see
the
I
that
fuck.
played
shit.
this man. Another thing, like look at Anthony. Talking of losses, yeah. Anthony Joshua lost to Ruiz. He won it back, bro. They turned a flipping old
Dude.
station. They made it literally a shrine for him. You walk past it to get to the platform, you can see AJ all over. It's like a flipping
Yeah,
galaxy of AJ pictures. Would they do that for Tyson Fury? Would they do that for Dillian White? Would they
Let's
do
say
that for a
this.
fucking Tank?
I say this about the American crop of fighters because in other parts of the world, some parts of the United Kingdom, some parts of Eastern Europe, some parts of the Far East and Japan, you still got them hard guys that don't give a fuck about no shit, and they're gonna come in there and beat the shit out of you, like Gento Nakatani, like Hiroto Kayaguchi, like Naoya Inoue. You know what I mean? You got guys like that. You got this Yanni Beck guy look like a goddamn serial killer. He want all the problems and all the smoke. You know what I mean? He an old throwback ass type fighter. And it's still fighters like this, you know what I mean? And I don't want to shit all over the American. I don't want to shit all over all the American fighters because you got Devin, you got Shakur, you got Jared Anderson, you got
you got
Tristan.
Jesse.
I think Bruce Shushu Carrington, he looked like a young Terrence Crawford.
Yeah,
So let's not make Ryan the model for every American fighter, even though it does seem to be an American problem. Because it does
I got
seem
a
to be an American problem.
yeah. They're way
I got
too
a
focused
question
on
because
building their brand through social media, and it's like nobody cares. Just fight.
Just fight. Go ahead.
I got a question because I gotta go. I got 3 hungry boys to take care of. But my cousin texted me today and said he heard on a podcast that Spence signed a contract, but they hadn't heard anything from Crawford. Have you all got
All right,
wind of anything
Crawford's
like that?
cousin, Terrence Crawford's cousin, at least someone who claims to be his cousin, who's fed me intel before. He hit me earlier today, and he said the announcement will be made next month. They had to wait for all this shit that's going on, all these other announcements of other fights and other shit. That's what he told me, that they're gonna announce it. It's done. That's what he told me this morning. It's done. They will announce it next month. That's what he told me. I don't get my hopes up though. I'm just saying, like, I don't get my hopes up. But that's what I was told.
Just hurry up.
Bigger fight than Canelo and GGG, but obviously they have to wait a month whilst all of that shit is
I'm
done.
sorry.
Then
You
they're gonna
know how I
see
feel
the
about it,
turmoil.
Suave. You know how I feel about it, Suave. You know how, like, I've said it many times. If they would have struck when the iron was hot, the fight's metrics would have been better. But y'all wanted to just do all this unnecessary bullshit. You know,
just some fucking all this minutia and fucking procrastination, just to build up to this. Like, come on, man. Like, y'all need to hurry it up, man.
you know what I mean? Like the pinnacle when the metrics for the fight were very high was when Crawford confronted Spence at that fight. Everybody, it was everywhere. Like you could see it, you could feel it. That it's buzzing. Time is now, and you need to do this inside of 12 months. You know, like if they would have had another fight and then fought each other, cool. Inside of 12 months. Nah, Brody, that was 2 fucking years ago, and car accident and eye surgery.
If you hadn't got over that car accident.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane, yo, and I hate it because it's like, yo, Bud, nah, he ain't the most charismatic. I get it. His interviews are not the most titillating, right? But just get him the fights, and that's what y'all deprived him of, the fights that he needed because y'all was scared. If you believed that you could beat him, then you would have fought him. But let's just be honest. Let's stop using big words with big syllables, and let's be honest. You guys don't believe you can beat him. Danny don't believe it. Keith never believed it.
That's all it boils down to.
Sean, God bless him, I said, the only PBC fighter out of them 3 guys that'll fight Bud is Sean. Danny won't do it. He talked all that shit when Bud was at 40. So that when he come up to 47, your daddy could cop a plea on camera. Why are you worrying about PBC fighter? Because your son was talking shit. Why are you acting dumb? You and your son was talking mash, and I ain't forget the shit his daddy said neither. He said a lot of shit.
Broner was talking about Bud. Broner was talking about Bud, saying he couldn't make 140. And then when Bud moved up to 147,
yeah, they were all chatty Cathy's, and now that he's not with Bob, what the hell they got to say now?
Nothing, because I've maintained that maybe my explanation 3 or 4 years ago was too simplistic for some people, but it was the truth. Everything you're hearing is bullshit. If you believe that you could beat him, you would have fought him. Period. If you believe that it can get you a belt that you could bring to another bigger fight, then you would have fought him. If that would be, in other words, with that WBO title, a guy like a Ryan Garcia, they'd fight him in a heartbeat. But because it's Terrence, you know you can't beat him. He will knock all of y'all out. From Errol to Keith to Sean to Dan.
Yeah. Okay. What happened in 154? When PBC was trying to take all the belts, okay, they didn't send Jermel to collect them. They sent some lesser guys who had some promise to collect those belts because it was a good move at that time.
Yeah.
But PBC at that time, they knew if we sent any of those welterweights against Crawford to try to collect that belt to Spence fought it, no. Those guys don't make it.
They don't make it. All right. Now you like the situation was never complicated. It wasn't about Bob and Top Rank, because that didn't stop y'all from making them Wilder fights. So clearly working with Top Rank wasn't a problem. PBC worked with Top Rank on them fights. That wasn't a problem. The real problem was if we put Errol in there with Terrence now, he don't make it to Sean. He don't make it to Danny. He don't make it to, he won't make it. If we put him in there now, he's going to lose that fight. And that's the real, and I've always maintained that's why we didn't get it. Y'all knew we need to do these first, because if we fuck around with Terrence, we don't get to make these other fights. Terrence going to be the one collecting all the goddamn belts if we put Errol in there with him now. That's why it took so long. And because what evens it out is, well, okay, maybe it was your plan to age out Terrence because Terrence is 1 or 2 years older than Errol. But look at what Errol has been through.
But yo, Jules, you know what's ironic?
Landmines.
I actually don't think that they were planning on putting
before.
Well, I was gonna say I don't think they were planning on putting Errol in with Crawford at all. Because if you really look at it, yeah, like they literally were gonna sell him to Canelo.
Yep.
Like I think people keep forgetting that. I'm like, because I remember mad people were saying,
wild.
because one time I said, I had
That's
one
how you
point
know
I
Tom
said
Brown
to
is an
someone,
awful businessman.
One at a time. Go ahead, keep going.
Sorry.
Keep going.
I had at one point said to someone, yo, y'all need to stop putting out all this bullshit about, we all wanted to see Undisputed and he needed to clean up his side of the street. And I'm like, nobody cared about him cleaning up his side of the street. The second Crawford touched 147, they said, all right, we want to see you against Spence.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you guys decided to put this fight and then this fight and then this fight. You guys are gonna put Danny Garcia before Terrence Crawford.
Bro,
like before car crash or nothing, bro.
You hit the nail on the head already. How is it that as soon as Terrence gets the belt that you told him to get, I got to clean up my side of the street, but I'm willing to fight Canelo? You see the bullshit. Are you trying to clean up your side of the street, or are you trying to fight
Canelo? Not even on your street, bro. He's on a different area code.
You are misreading the situation because Canelo Alvarez, I mean, Errol Spence was trying to be great. For fuck's sake. You have to understand that.
Shit.
He gonna get the treatment that Mikey should have got when he tries to be great, to be honest.
Right? Like, motherfuckers ain't had no mercy for that motherfucker. I
got a question. Is the term daring to be great becoming a platitude now? Like, it's like, is it just like too wishy-washy now?
You know when a fighter is daring to be great, and it has everything to do with the threat level. And there are fighters that are daring to be great. I'm not a bandwagoner. Bam Rodriguez taking on that Quadras fight on short notice is daring to be great. He was 2 divisions removed from his division to fight a more experienced fighter when he himself had never even fought for 12 rounds. Pay attention. The dude never fought for 12 rounds. Took the fight on short notice. Moved up 2 divisions for a vacant title. Yeah, but that's daring to be great. Like, no, I can do this. I can beat Quadras. And when they were saying, he might leave Superfly, not before I knock out Sorun Visa. Not before that. That's daring to be great.
Yeah.
It's a bad.
And then let me go back down to fight the most dangerous guy at my other weight class, Junto Nakatani.
Bruh. And I think they're going to do that because Junto was at the fight. Junto was there.
I'm not going to lie. Junto might beat his ass. I know a lot of people don't
want to hear that either, bro.
That might be it. That might be it.
He's a bad dude, man. He's a bad dude. And if he don't get that Ioka fight, if he sit at Fly, it might be Bam versus Junto or Bam, Sonny. Look, I know that y'all not crazy about Sonny, right? It's cool, but Sonny with the shit. Sonny was like, Wordy coming back to Fly, get me that. I'm with that shit because what would we say if Sonny said, I don't want that fight? Sonny saying, nah, I want that fight. I want it. And he IBF champion, cool. Make it happen. You know what I mean? But those are situations where the fighter is daring to be great. Like Mikey Garcia, you're not daring to be great going up to fight Errol because great would have been you versus Loma.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Shit, man. If he fights Choco, though, it's like daring to be disrespectful.
I don't want to see that, and I don't want to talk about that.
I knew it.
You need to prove something to me. You promised me something. You're my promoter. You still haven't delivered, bro.
Look, I can get you a Hank Lundy fight. I can get you a Hank Lundy fight. I can get you a Hank Lundy fight. Alexis don't want to sign a contract. He's not even answering my texts. You don't want to sign a contract. I can't make him sign the contract, Sawab.
He lost his phone.
He lost his pen. Let me read the super chat. Any update on the debate of the decade, Sawab versus Alexis? Listen, I haven't spoken to Alexis in 3 days. That's the update.
You're not seeing him, bro.
All right, don't get mad at me. I want to do the debate because I want to moderate it. I want it to be cordial. I'm gonna make a lot of money. Winner gets $25. Will says that's a terrible ambition in a hurt business. You know what I mean? Let me read this other one. I just passed it. Luis Puente says, for you think young bucks like Virgil Boots will get a shot with these older welterweight fighters? They're in a very bad situation because all of the belts from 147 to 154 are tied up with the PBC. So if you're Virgil, what belt are you going to fight for at either welterweight or junior middleweight? If you're Boots, yeah, you fight on Showtime, but you're not a Heyman fighter. And guys like Thurman don't want nothing to do with you. Danny talking about, well, we from the same city. We not going to fight. So both Virgil and Boots, which is why people shouldn't look at them funny, both of them are being swerved. By all rights, a guy like Keith should be fighting Boots. A guy like Danny should be fighting Virgil. Why? Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry. One of the oldest rivalries in boxing. You don't want to do that. You going to go up there fight Jose Benavidez because you figure he got one leg and you could beat him. That's what you do. And that's why I really want Jose to knock him out. Just please find all the Mexican spirit powers of the Quetzalcoatl and just of Techno Tichachan and just please knock him out. Somebody please knock him out. Because I'm tired of being sold this goddamn dream about Danny Garcia. I'm sick of that shit. Like, bro, why y'all still acting like he the shit because he knocked out Khan? Was Bradus Prescott the shit when he knocked out Khan? Because he did it in one round.
Yeah.
What amazes me is people thinking that he's Hall of Fame.
Bro, I don't even understand that motherfucking shit. How the fuck is he Hall of Fame? Ryan Garcia could have fought for a title. That's the truth. That's the motherfucking truth.
Yeah,
Wait, you know what's crazy about that too? If he had fought Devin at that time, I think he would have won.
Possibly.
I know a lot of people think it's like controversial, but think about it like this. Someone, I think it was from the boxing rant. They said the way Devin Haney fights is he'll be perfect. He'll be jabbing and moving, he's slipping the punches, and then halfway through the fight, he'll forget that he's Devin Haney and he'll try to press the guy and he'll start looking a little bit weird, like you don't look right doing it. And that's what happened with Ramirez, except it was a skilled guy. And when he pressed him, he got hurt. Now, if he did that shit to Ryan, he would have pressed him and got flatlined.
I see your point, but I wouldn't phrase it that way to where undoubtedly I'd say.
I would say undoubtedly it would happen, but I think there's a very great chance it would happen.
More like
really high at that time.
He stood a better chance. We can say that Ryan stood a better chance in that fight a couple fights ago than he does now, because while Ryan is painting his nails and doing TikToks, Devin Haney is flying to foreign countries and winning belts.
Devin Haney was ironically fighting the fights that Ryan should have fought to prepare himself for a Devin Haney level fight.
Literally. Remember, Ryan was supposed to fight Linares. Haney ended up getting. Ryan was supposed to fight Jojo Diaz. Haney ended up fighting. You know, Ryan was talking all that. George, you're not going to fight George, and we all motherfucking know it. Who fights him?
Yo, Jules, he's on his backstage.
No, I was about to wrap this live up, actually. I was about to wrap it up because it's already been like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. I'm going to go watch old 80s movies.
Jules, make it happen.
Watch the thing.
I'm betting on you.
I'm going to call him. I'm going to send him a draft of the contract. I can't make him sign it, Sawab.
Bro, it's 70-30.
Oh, you said he's ducking you.
I got 70%.
I could get you a fight with Isan.
On what? What are we going to debate on?
This WBA title that's going to go vacant very soon.
Isan's my boy.
Isan at the O2 Arena, November. WBA Intercontinental.
I'll take it.
Just to keep you busy until Alexis finds his pen.
Yeah, cool. So there's a warm-up fight then.
He didn't want to face Maestro either.
Who? Wait, who?
Alexis.
Oh my God.
You don't want that Maestro smoke.
If Bruce Wayne is ducking me, Alexis is ducking me, everyone's ducking me, bro. What's happening? Am I the boogeyman?
You Jaron Ennis, bro. Sawab Ennis.
So with this.
So Bob Ennis, bro, like they don't want to know. They don't want to try. You knocking these guys out too quick, bro.
Bro, I'm a young upcomer, bro.
Look, when I get you to eat some fight, let him hit you a little bit. Let it go like 3-4 rounds at least, because you scaring these guys away.
I'll take it. I'll go 12 rounds. I need some rounds in my, you know what I mean? I'm down for rounds.
I hate motherfuckers. Oh,
Peace,
shit.